For just a moment, pray with me. Father, bless us, keep us, and now ask that you would fill us so that we may be the instruments of love and action for the places that you will send us. This we ask in your wonderful name, amen. Certainly this morning, let me say what a blessing and a privilege it is to meet you on this day and in this occasion. As I stand here today, I am in the midst of perhaps reflecting myself, as well as having flashbacks to sitting where you sit, to remembering days, to hearing words that would affect my life, change my life, transform my life, and truly direct my life. That a particular time and place years ago, just like this gathering, we would sit and we would remember. But we were challenged to not just remember, we were challenged to hear so that we would live it out. Already you've heard about the examples that have been put before us. And the example of one, Dr. Martin Luther King. And yesterday we marked perhaps the 91st birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. But throughout this weekend, the news, the television, tweets, Instagram, and Facebook posts were all filled with his pictures. But more importantly, they were filled with his words. Throughout my life, I've listened to the recordings. Throughout my life, I've read these words. Throughout my life, I've watched the videos and the films of this preacher, this pastor, and plainly put, this son and this father. And when I was listening, I never knew how much it would affect my life. Perhaps I first listened because somebody told me to. Perhaps I first read them because there was so much of them. But his words were more and are more than just speeches given on special occasions. His words are more than just articles that are penned or printed just so that they could be mass produced. With all that we've heard over this past weekend, and for many, throughout all of our lives, and in particular in this place this morning, I begin to wonder, and I ask that you might ask yourself as I'm asking myself once again, how much have we really paid attention? Let me say, when I was sitting in these seats years ago, not in this particular place, but looking something like this, I looked forward to chapel because it just gave me extra time before I got to class. But there were moments where I was listening, not so that I would just be in the place, but so that I could get something to take from the place. I must confess that when I look at this, his words, and I listen, his words have influenced my life. The more I've listened to his words, the greater my desire to not just be someone who has heard his words, but someone who is pressing to live a life of service. Our lives are all different because of Dr. Martin Luther King's life of service. Our country is better because of his sacrifice. And many of our relationships have been transformed because of his witness of love. Many of us have learned not to just, as he said, judge a person by the color of their skin, but have taken the time to get to know their character. While many others would have sought to turn their popularity into fame, he chose to serve. While countless others and other numbers would have sought to turn their position into power where they could control others' lives, he valued being in a position to serve others through his life. He was guided by his faith, and he lived a life that is not expressed or understood by or limited to just one day. His life was not just so that on one day we could question what we do. He lived a life that challenged us to question, who do we desire to be? We have all been caught up, and many who are here today find it fascinating to watch celebrities get caught up in celebrity culture and the discussions of what it means to be great, or even, as we say and as we've heard, to be great again. We live in a day and a time when greatness is measured by the number of friends or followers you can count. You may have never met them or even come into contact with them, but so many think it's such notoriety to have a number that they can count, who they may not even know. In a day when greatness is measured by the number of likes or the amount of your possessions, Dr. King presses us to see greatness in a different way. Think of all the words that you may have heard throughout recent days, where when we think of his words, you may have heard some of these, where he told us Jesus gave us a new norm for greatness. If you want to be important, he said, wonderful. If you want to be recognized, wonderful. If you want to be great, wonderful. But recognize that he who is the greatest among you shall be your servant. That's a new definition of greatness. It means that everybody can be great because everybody can serve. Perhaps you heard words that said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Maybe you heard over the past few days, love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Maybe you heard the words that were lifted that said we must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. There is some good in the worst of us, and some evil even in the best of us. When we discover this, we are less prone to hate our enemies. There have been so many words, but perhaps you even heard where it said human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, requires suffering, requires struggle, requires tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. He even said, he who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it. But he said the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. We've heard recently over and over again that words matter. And so today I just press his words, that they might not fall on your ears, but I hope this morning that they might fall on your heart. Words do matter. How we speak to our families matter. How we speak to our friends matter. How we speak to our strangers and neighbors, it matters. We have the ability through our words to build up or to tear down, to disappoint or to encourage. While in college, I marched and remembered and thought this morning about the days where I marched in an effort to bring about the recognition of this holiday. I walked with friends, but at some point, while standing on the mall, just like this moment, I heard words lifted over and over. But someone spoke to the students who were out there, me being one of them, and I heard the words that said intelligence plus character. That's the true goal of education. And I thought about not just the grades that I wanted to get, I thought about the character I really wanted to have. We are in this moment, and as students, you are not in this moment simply so that you can claim greatness by the grades you get on your report cards, by the marks that you might receive. Yeah, they matter, but there's something more than what might be in pen and ink. There's power in your spirit. And we're here this morning so that we can add to our intelligence character. Today we should listen to his words so that we can live a life where words like excellence, words like service, words like courage, words like conscience, words like right choices, kindness, ethics are more than words and claims that we make. They reflect who we are. So this morning, remember that your words have power. Remember that your words create space. But the real power and the evidence of character is the one who will not just make space with the words, but the one who will stand in that place after you make your claim. So this morning, don't strive just to be the best in one area. Strive to be the best in every area. And so if we claim that we are intelligent, let us claim to have character to go with it. Amen.